I'm standing under the cathedral's gold-lit dome at the charity gala when the choir's final note dies and my husband's hand closes around the microphone. She's unstable, he says, smiling at the donors like I'm a cautionary tale. And tonight, I'm removing her from everything. Heat climbs my throat. My late grandmother's brass coin, etched with a tiny cross, burns a circle into my palm as the room blurs into perfume, wax, and cameras waiting for me to break. The applause doesn't come right away. It hesitates in the air, confused, like a hand hovering over a hot stove. Then a few people clap anyway, polite and thin, and the sound spreads because people follow sound when they don't know what else to do. The chandeliers throw soft light over faces I've thanked 100 times. Tonight, those faces look at me like I'm a headline. The choir members are still on the risers, eyes lowered, robes brushing their shoes. A wax candle near the lectern trembles, the flame bending with the vent's breath. Caleb holds the microphone like it belongs to him. Like my name on the program was a typo, they're fixing in real time. In the front row, Vivian doesn't move. My mother-in-law sits with her spine straight, hands folded, pearls catching the light as if she's wearing armor. Her mouth is calm, not shocked, not concerned, satisfied. Beside her, my sister Renee rises just a fraction, as if she's preparing to accept an award. Caleb's other hand lifts a folder, thick, cream-colored, the kind of folder you see in clinics and courtrooms. He taps it once against the lectern, a soft, papery thud that lands right in the hollow behind my ribs. This is for the protection of the mission, he adds, voice warm, reasonable, practiced. The word mission makes the room feel like a church again. It makes his cruelty sound holy. My coin heats under my thumb, metal against skin, ridged edge biting. I keep rolling it back and forth like I can grind myself into calm. A camera on a tripod whirs as it zooms. Someone in the aisle raises a phone, the screen a bright square aimed at my face. I taste copper. My body wants to do the old thing. Freeze. Smile. Swallow it so no one can accuse me of being exactly what he's calling me. But the old thing is how you get buried alive. So I do what I do in a crisis. I break it down, breathe, count, find the exits, find the witnesses, keep my voice even. I step toward the side of the stage, not rushing. The soles of my heels click on the polished floor, too loud in the hush, and each click feels like a vote being cast. Caleb turns his head to follow me, smile still pinned on. He expects me to run. He expects me to shatter. He expects the cameras to catch it. Instead, I stop where the stage light ends and the shadows begin. I look at the event coordinator, Julie, standing near the soundboard, headset crooked, eyes wide. She looks like she wants to disappear into her own clipboard. I lift 2 fingers, subtle, a small signal, not a plea. Julie, I say quietly, and it's the first time I speak tonight. My voice comes out steady, which surprises even me. Please preserve all video and audio recordings from this event. Her eyebrows flick up. She opens her mouth like she's going to ask why, and then she sees the cameras. She sees Caleb. She sees Vivian. She nods once, small and fast, like she understands this is not about feelings. It's about proof. My coin warms again, a pulse. I slide it deeper into my palm and curl my fingers around it until it leaves a clean circle in my skin. Caleb laughs softly into the mic. It's friendly. It's for them. Amazing, he says. You see, even now, that laugh is a hook. He wants it to snag in the crowd's mind. He wants them to remember it later and think he was right. I turn my head toward him. Not the crowd. Him. I keep my face neutral, like I'm listening to a briefing. Give me the folder, I say. Just that. No tremble. No apology. The room stirs, a ripple of fabric and breath. Vivian's pearl necklace shifts as she tilts her chin, watching the exchange the way you watch a card trick you already know the ending to. Renee's eyes flick down, then up, then down again, like she's checking a script. Caleb doesn't hand it over. He hugs it closer to the lectern. This isn't, he starts, and then he catches himself because the mic is hot. Because the cameras are hungry. Because he can't say the real thing out loud. He adjusts, smooth as oil. This is a private medical matter, he announces. Medical, private, matter. Words that make people step back without thinking. Words that make authority feel automatic. My stomach drops anyway, because I understand the shape of the trap now. Not just embarrassment, a label, a story that gets repeated until it becomes a fact. I hear my grandmother's voice in my head like a whisper from the pews. Keep your hands clean. Keep your records cleaner. My thumb presses the tiny cross on the coin. I feel the grooves. I feel her. I pull my phone from my clutch with my free hand. The screen glows against my fingers. I don't wave it. I don't announce it. I simply open my notes app and start typing because that's what you do when someone is trying to rewrite reality. Witness list. Names. Positions. Where they're sitting. What they're seeing. My lawyer's number is pinned at the top of my messages. I tap it once and draft a single line. Call me emergency public defamation folder cameras. I don't hit send yet, not until I have one more thing. I look toward the side door where the venue's security stands. Black suits, earpieces, hands clasped. They've been watching the crowd all night. Now they're watching me. I step down from the stage, one careful stare at a time, and the air changes as I leave the lights. Cooler, sharper, the smell of wax fades. The scent of cologne and champagne grows stronger. People lean back as I pass, their knees and handbags tucked away like I'm contagious. I don't hot touch anyone. I don't give them that. I walk straight to the nearest security guard and keep my voice low. Sir, I say, I need the incident report number for tonight, and I need a supervisor present, now. His eyes shift to Caleb, to Vivian, to the cameras. He hesitates for half a beat. Then something in my face, something controlled, makes him choose procedure over politics. He nods. He lifts a hand to his earpiece. I hear the faint crackle of radio static, a tiny beep, a sound I can anchor to. My coin is hot enough to hurt, but it's steady, like a compass. Behind me, Caleb's voice floats over the speakers, still smiling, still narrating me as if I'm his story. She needs help, he says gently, and the word help lands like a blade wrapped in velvet. The guard leans closer. Ma'am, he murmurs, what's going on? I look back at the stage, at the folder, at my sister standing like she's already been crowned, at Vivian's calm, waiting eyes, and I realize they didn't just plan to remove me. They planned to make me disappear without anyone feeling guilty. So I finally hit send on the message to my lawyer, and as my phone vibrates with the whoosh of it leaving, I whisper to myself, barely moving my lips, okay? Because the next step is not tears. The next step is proof. The next step is proof. I keep saying it as I walk back through the nave, past the pillars and candlelight and the slow turning heads. Proof, not performance, not pleading. My heels don't click anymore once I hit the carpeted corridor behind the hall, but I still feel every step in my teeth. The guard's radio crackles once, a soft electronic spit, and then a single beep confirms someone heard him. I don't wait to see how fast a supervisor arrives. I don't wait for Vivian to stand and call me dramatic. I don't wait for Caleb to follow me into the hallway and try to talk me back into silence. I move like I'm exiting a building with smoke in it. I keep my hands to myself. I keep my mouth closed. I keep my eyes forward. Outside, the cold hits me like a slap. It clears the perfume out of my lungs. My breath turns white in front of my face as I cross the parking lot. The gala's music muffled behind the heavy doors. I get into my car and lock it. The click is loud in the quiet. It steadies me. My fingers are shaking so hard it takes 2 tries to get the key in the ignition. The engine turns over with a low, faithful rumble. The dashboard lights up in calm greens and reds, indifferent to my life imploding. I set my phone in the console and put it on speaker. Not for drama, for documentation. If my lawyer calls back, I want the whole thing heard. I send one more message, this time to myself, short and plain. Left stage. Requested preservation. Requested incident report. Security notified. My thumb rubs the coin through the fabric of my clutch. Warmth, ridged edge, that tiny cross pressing into skin like a reminder that faith is not the same thing as being quiet. I pull out of the lot. The streetlights smear across the windshield as I drive, hands tight on the wheel. Every red light feels like a chance for my brain to start replaying Caleb's voice through the speakers. Unstable, removing, everything. I don't let it. I do what I've learned to do when panic tries to take the wheel. Checklist. I say it under my breath like a prayer. Witnesses, records, preservation, counsel, no contact. I turn my phone's location sharing on with a friend I trust. Because I've read enough stories to know what happens when someone decides you're not well. They start trying to control where you go. I pass a gas station and my stomach twists. The memory of a wellness check already sitting like a stone in my throat, even though it hasn't happened yet. My mind is ahead of my life. I hate that, but it keeps you alive. The hospital appears ahead. A block of light in the dark, a steady hum, a place that smells like disinfectant and coffee and exhaustion. It isn't neutral because hospitals are kind. It's neutral because hospitals don't belong to my family. They don't care about Vivian's pearls. They don't care about Caleb's charm. They care about policies. Badges, logs. I park under a lamp and sit for one beat with my hands on the wheel. My pulse thumps in my ears. The coin is hot in my palm. I step out and the night air bites my cheeks. Inside, the automatic doors whoosh open and warm air rolls over me carrying that familiar blend of sanitizer and burnt coffee. The fluorescent lights buzz above the lobby. Not holy, not warm, just bright, just true. I walk past the information desk with my head up. The security guard at the hospital entrance looks at me once, then back at his screen. No recognition, no judgment. I like that. I move down the corridor toward the chapel. My grandmother brought me here when I was little. When my parents' fights turned the house into a war zone, she'd slip my hand into hers, her skin cool and papery, and we'd sit in the back pew while machines hissed and monitors beeped behind closed doors. She'd say, "This is where people tell the truth because they're too tired to lie." The hallway today hums with the same mechanical life. A distant oxygen hiss, a cartwheel squeaking. Somewhere a monitor beeps, steady and patient. I push through the chapel door. It's dimmer inside. Soft. A few rows of wooden pews, a small altar, a thin stained glass panel that turns the overhead light into muted colors. I can smell old wood and candle wax, and the faint, clean ghost of antiseptic carried in on people's clothes. A chaplain stands near a rack of pamphlets, arranging them in neat stacks. He looks up as I enter, and for a second I think he won't see me at all. Then his expression shifts. Recognition, not personal, institutional. My last name. It carries through rooms. "Mrs. Hale," he says gently, voice low like we're in a place where sound matters. I don't correct him. "Not tonight." "Yes," I answer, and my voice comes out hoarse, scraped raw by swallowed rage. He takes a step closer, palms open. "I'm sorry," he says. "Your grandmother, she used to sit right there." He nods toward the third pew on the left, the one with a small scratch in the wood where she'd traced circles with her thumb. My own thumb presses the coin. Circle. Cross. Warmth. "She told me to give you something," he says. My stomach tightens. Time slows. He reaches into a drawer beneath a small side table and pulls out a worn Bible. The cover is cracked, corners softened by years of hands. He holds it out like an offering. "For comfort," he adds, and the words almost make me laugh, sharp and ugly, because comfort is not what I came here for. Then he flips it open, careful, and I see it. A thicker spine than it should have. Something tucked deep inside. He turns the book, lets gravity do its quiet work, and a sealed envelope slides out and lands on the table with a soft, papery slap. My name is written across it. Not typed, not printed. Handwritten. My grandmother's script, slanted, decisive, familiar enough to make my eyes sting. The coin in my palm warms like it's answering a call. The chaplain doesn't touch the envelope again. He steps back. He gives me space like he's been trained to. "She said," he murmurs, "that if you ever came here with fear in your throat, you'd need truth more than comfort." My breath catches. I stare at the envelope. The seal is intact. No tearing. No fingerprints. A clean handoff. A chain. My lawyer's call comes through right then. My phone vibrating in my pocket. The screen lighting my palm. I look from the ringing phone to the envelope with my name on it. And I realize whatever is inside was meant for this exact moment. My phone keeps vibrating in my pocket. Impatient and bright, like it can't stand the quiet of the chapel. The buzz skates up my ribs. I pull it out. My lawyer's name fills the screen. I inhale once, slow. The coin is still trapped in my fist, warm enough to sting. I answer. "Where are you?" she says. No greeting, just urgency. "In a hospital chapel," I whisper, because my voice feels too loud in here, like it could bruise the air. "What happened?" she asks, and I can hear her already walking, papers shifting, a door opening somewhere on her end. "He called me unstable on a microphone," I say. He held up a folder like it was medical. "I requested preservation of the recordings." I hear her exhale. "Good," she says, sharp with approval. "Do not go back. Do not engage. Are you alone?" "There's a chaplain," I say, eyes flicking to the man by the table. The chaplain's hands are folded now. He gives me that careful look people give when they're trying not to become part of the story. "Okay," my lawyer says. "Listen, anything you touch tonight becomes evidence. Treat it like glass." The word evidence makes my throat tighten. My gaze drops to the envelope on the table. My name in my grandmother's handwriting. The seal unbroken. "Something just appeared," I say, and my voice cracks on the last word. "What kind of something?" she asks. "A letter," I whisper. "From my grandmother." Silence for a half beat, then softer. "Don't read it on speaker. Don't summarize it to me yet. Photograph the front and back. Keep the envelope, keep the seal, then call me back." I swallow. The coin leaves a damp circle in my palm when I loosen my grip. I set it on the table beside the envelope, and it makes a small metal click against the wood. A sound that feels like a pin dropping in a courtroom. The chaplain looks down at it, then up at me. "Can you witness that you handed me this?" I ask him, because procedure is a language my family can't sweet talk. His eyebrows lift. He understands immediately. He nods once. "I can," he says. "I can write a note for your records." I take my phone and photograph the envelope where it lies, my coin beside it like a guard. I take another photo of the seal, close enough to see the tiny fibers of paper. The fluorescent buzz from the hallway leaks under the chapel door. Somewhere far off, a monitor beeps in a steady rhythm. I slide the envelope carefully into my hands. The paper is cool. The weight of it is wrong for something as small as a letter, like it's carrying more than words. I turn it over and photograph the back. Then I hold it over the table and break the seal with my thumbnail. Slow, controlled, like I'm cutting a wire. The flap lifts. The smell of old paper rises, faintly sweet, like the inside of a drawer no one's opened in years. I pull the letter out. My grandmother's handwriting spills across the page, tight and clean. Not the flowing script of love notes, the script of someone who learned to survive. The first line makes my lungs stop. If they ever shame you in God's house, it's because they're hiding a crime. My skin goes cold then hot. The coin warms again under my fingertips, as if it's reacting to my heartbeat. I keep reading. She doesn't write about feelings. She writes like she's leaving instructions for a fire. Dates, names, account names that mean nothing to me at first, and then start to assemble in my mind like pieces of a lock. A warning about what to keep and what not to touch. And one phrase underlined twice so hard the pen nearly tore the page. Chain of custody. My mouth goes dry. My grandmother writes that Vivian pressured her to update documents, pushing papers across a kitchen table like it was a blessing. She writes that Caleb came to her with that polished smile and asked for just one signature because it would help the mission. He told her I was stressed. He told her I wanted him to handle the boring parts. He told her it was for my own good. The chapel suddenly feels too small, too still, like the air is holding its breath with me. I read the letter again, slower. She lists the names of 2 board members who look away when money moves. She writes that Vivian likes to hide behind faith, that Caleb hides behind charm, that Renee hides behind innocence. My sister's name on my grandmother's page makes my stomach drop. Not a suspicion, a confirmation. The chaplain's pen scratches on paper behind me. He's writing his witness note without being asked again. The sound steadies me. Scratch, pause, scratch, like a metronome for my mind. I fold the letter carefully along its original creases. I slide it back into the envelope, not because I'm done, because I'm not going to risk smearing it with my hands. I photograph the first page before I put it away. I take pictures of the underlined phrase. I take pictures of the date at the bottom, where my grandmother signed her name like she was signing a warning label. Then I call my lawyer back. She mentions chain of custody, I say, and my voice is steadier now. She names accounts. She says they pushed her to sign things. She says Caleb asked for one signature on nonprofit paperwork I never saw. My lawyer goes quiet. When she speaks again, her voice is low and firm. Go home, she says. Lock your door. Do not call them. Do not email them. Pull your records. We build the timeline. Timeline. Yes, that's a word I can hold. I leave the chapel with the envelope tucked flat inside my coat like it's a second heartbeat. The coin sits in my pocket, warm against my thigh. The hospital hallway hits me with bright light and disinfectant. A cart rolls past. Wheels squeak. A nurse's shoes slap the floor. Life keeps moving like my world isn't splitting open. In my car, I don't cry. I drive. At home, I go straight to the small desk where I keep everything I thought was safe. Board minutes in one folder, donor reports in another, emails printed and tucked away because my grandmother raised me to never trust a screen alone. I wash my hands first. Hot water. Soap. Dry them completely. It feels ridiculous until it doesn't. Then I sit down and start opening. Page by page, line by line. The air in my house smells like stale coffee and the lemon cleaner I used yesterday. My lamp hums faintly. The coin warms under my thumb as I flip through the papers. And then I find it, a scanned attachment printed months ago and filed without thought. A signature at the bottom, clean, confident, my name in my handwriting. Perfect. Too perfect. Because I know exactly where I am on the day it's dated. Not here. Out of state, in a training room with bad air conditioning and a badge on a lanyard, learning emergency coordination protocols while someone at the front clicked through slides. My fingers go numb around the page. I stare at the signature until my eyes blur. Then I feel it. The shift. Fear snapping into focus. The way a storm turns into a straight line. And in the silence of my kitchen, with my grandmother's coin burning warmth into my palm, I understand what this really is. Not a betrayal. A forgery. Not a betrayal. A forgery. The word sits on my tongue like a bitter pill I can't swallow. I lay the paper flat on the desk and don't touch it again, like it might smear if I breathe wrong. My grandmother's coin is hot in my palm. I set it down beside the page, and it makes that same small metal click, a sound that tells my body this is real. This is evidence. I take a photo of the page where the signature lives. Then I take another photo showing the date at the top. Then one more that catches the whole document, corners included, so no one can say I cropped a lie. My lawyer's voice is still in my head. Treat it like glass. Chain of custody. I exhale through my nose, slow and stand. In the kitchen sink, I grab a clean zip-top bag. I slide the document inside without folding it. I press the seal shut. Plastic whispers. I label the outside with a marker, simple, what it is, where it came from. When I found it, my handwriting looks steadier than my hands feel. Then I sit back down and open my laptop with 2 fingers, like I'm afraid of what I'll wake up. The house is quiet except for the refrigerator's low hum. Somewhere outside, a car passes, tires hissing over damp pavement. I pull up my calendar from the day on the document. I don't have to search long. The memory of that training is sharp because I hated it. All-day sessions, hard chairs, the smell of dry erase markers and stale pastries, a badge on a lanyard that kept flipping over. Out of state. I scroll. There it is, the event with the address. I open my email and search for the confirmation. It appears instantly, like the universe is sick of people pretending. Flight receipt, hotel confirmation, the itinerary with my name spelled exactly right. I feel something inside me click into place. Not hope, not peace. Procedure. I start a folder on my desktop. Not a cute one, a brutal one. I drag in the calendar proof. I drag in the travel receipts. I drag in the email confirmations. Then I open a blank document and start a timeline. Down to the hour. Because lies live in vagueness. Truth lives in details. At 11 in the morning, I'm in a training room. At noon, I'm eating a sad sandwich from a conference table. At 2 in the afternoon, I'm signing an attendance sheet with a pen that barely works. At the exact time this document claims I signed the nonprofit paperwork, I'm on video in the background of someone else's photo, smiling because I don't know my life is being stolen. My stomach rolls. I press the coin into my palm hard enough to hurt. That tiny cross leaves its shape behind. I dial my lawyer. She answers on the second ring. I found a forged signature, I say. No preamble. No apology. Silence. Then, good, she says, and her voice is flat with focus. Not good for your life, good for the case. Tell me what you have. I walk her through it like a report. Document, date, signature, my location proof. Travel records? She doesn't interrupt. When I finish, she says, tomorrow morning, bring everything, originals if you have them. No staples removed, no highlight marks. We build your receipts like a case file. Receipts. The word makes me want to laugh, because my family always accused me of being dramatic when I saved proof. Now my drama is going to be exhibits. In the morning, the world looks too normal. Sunlight slants through my blinds. The coffee maker gurgles. A bird taps at the window like it owns the place. My hands move anyway. I print the emails. I print the travel confirmations. I print my calendar page. I print the training agenda. I make copies and keep the originals separate. I don't clip anything together. I slide each piece into clear sleeves. I label them with sticky notes. I put my grandmother's letter in its own envelope inside a folder, untouched except for the photos I took. Chain of custody. I whisper it each time I place paper into plastic. My lawyer's office smells like old carpet and toner. The receptionist doesn't smile much. I like her immediately. My attorney, Mara, comes out with a tired face and sharp eyes, hair pulled back tight, sleeves rolled up like she's already been wrestling someone else's mess. She looks at me once, not my clothes, not my tears. Me. Sit, she says, and it's not unkind. It's efficient. I sit. I slide my folders across the desk. The coin sits in my palm, warm grounding, and I keep rubbing the cross like I'm polishing a weapon. Mara flips through my papers with practiced hands. No gasps. No sympathy theatrics. Just scanning, noting, organizing. Her pen taps lightly against the desk. Tap, tap, tap. Intent, she says finally. We need to prove they meant to do this. Not a mistake. Not a misunderstanding. I can, I say, and my voice surprises me with how calm it is. She lifts an eyebrow. I point to my grandmother's letter. I have motive, I say. They wanted control. They wanted me out. He said it on a microphone. Mara nods once. Okay, she says. We build the story in the language courts understand. Dates, documents, witnesses, patterns. She opens a yellow legal pad and draws a straight line down the page. She writes on the left, what they claim. On the right, what you can prove. She looks up at me. When did you request financials, she asks. I haven't yet, I admit. Her mouth tightens. Then we do it right, she says. Formal request. Written, trackable, no phone calls they can deny, no emotional messages they can screenshot. I nod. My coin warms again. A steady heat. Mara drafts a request letter while I watch. Not flowery, not pleading. A list. Bank statements, vendor invoices, board meeting minutes, access logs, anything tied to funds. She prints it and slides it to me. Sign, she says. I take my own pen. Not Caleb's pen. Not Vivian's pen. Mine. The ink looks darker than usual, like it knows it matters. I sign. Mara makes a copy in front of me. The copier whirs. The paper slides out warm. She stamps the copy with the date in bold ink and hands it back like a shield. Now, she says, we wait for their response, and we document the waiting. On my drive home, my phone buzzes. A message from Renee. Are you okay? 3 words. A smiley face would be too obvious, so she doesn't use one. But I can hear her voice anyway. Sweet, concerned, poisoned. My fingers hover over the screen. I don't reply. I screenshot it and save it into my folder. Evidence. Then another message comes in. Vivian, you're embarrassing the family. This is not what your grandmother would have wanted. My stomach twists. My grandmother's coin presses warm into my skin like a rebuttal. I pull into my driveway and sit there for a beat, listening to the engine tick as it cools. The house feels too quiet when I step inside. I lock the door. The deadbolt slides with a heavy clunk. I set my folders on the table like they're sacred. And then I hear the knock. Soft, measured, like someone who knows they'll be let in. I don't move. The knock comes again. Then Caleb's voice through the door, gentle as a lullaby. Hey, he says. Can we talk? You're making this worse. Stop embarrassing everyone. My coin bites my palm as I curl my fingers around it. And I understand his tenderness isn't love. It's a tool. It's a tool. I don't open the door. I stand with my back against it, listening to Caleb's breath through the wood like he's close enough to fog the paint. My folders sit on this table behind me, squared up like they're waiting for orders. The house smells faintly like toner and lemon cleaner. My grandmother's coin is hot in my fist, the ridged edge biting a half moon into my skin. Please, Caleb says softer. Just talk to me. I'm worried. Worried. That word again. The same word Vivian uses when she wants permission to control you. I picture him on the porch with that practiced face, eyes down, shoulders slightly slumped. An image built for neighbors, for cameras, for anyone who might be watching. I don't give him a scene. I don't give him a door. I slide my phone out, keep it low at my side, and type one line to my lawyer. He's here, at my door. I'm not opening. Then I type another to my friend. If anything happens, call me. My thumb rubs the tiny cross on the coin. A steady warmth, an anchor. Caleb, I say through the door, voice even, like I'm reading from a policy. Leave. A pause. Then a small laugh, like I've made a silly mistake. You're going to regret this, he says, still gentle. This isn't you. I swallow hard. This is me, I say, and my voice comes out calmer than my heart feels. The porch boards creak. Footsteps. Then nothing. I wait until my body stops expecting the handle to turn. I wait until the silence feels real. Only then do I move. I check the locks again, one by one, the deadbolt sliding with a heavy clunk that makes my shoulders drop a fraction. I pull the curtains. I set a chair under the doorknob like I'm building a child's fort. And I hate myself for needing to. I don't sleep. I doze in shallow pieces on the couch with my shoes on, the coin tucked in my palm like it's the only thing that belongs to me without question. Every time the refrigerator clicks, my eyes snap open. Every time a car door shuts outside, my throat tightens. The next knock comes when the light outside has shifted from deep dark to that washed-out gray that makes everything look flat and exposed. A different knock, not soft, not personal. 2 firm raps, spaced like a metronome. My stomach drops before my brain catches up. I stand slowly. I keep my hands visible. I breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. Checklist. Observe. Document. Stay calm. I step to the peephole. 2 uniforms. 2 officers. 1 man, 1 woman. Polite posture. Hands near their belts, not touching, but ready. The woman's radio gives a small crackle, then a beep. A sound I've heard on TV 1,000 times. Up close, it makes my skin prickle. I keep the chain on. I open the door only enough to show my face. Ma'am, the male officer says, voice neutral. We're here to do a welfare check. The word welfare lands in my chest like a weight. I can almost see Vivian shaping it with her mouth. Concern. Safety. Spiral. The woman officer looks past my shoulder into my house, eyes scanning the way they're trained to. I don't take it personally. I take it seriously. I'm okay, I say. Is there an emergency, I add, because the question matters. The male officer glances at his partner. Someone called, he says. They're concerned about you after an incident at an event. After an incident, my hands go cold. My grandmother's coin warms in my pocket, pressed against my thigh like a small sun. I nod once. I understand, I say. Then I do the thing my family hates. I turn it into procedure. Before we go further, I say, may I have your names and badge numbers? Both officers blink, just a fraction. Not offended, surprised. The woman officer's mouth tightens like she respects it. She leans slightly so I can see her badge. I'm Officer Daniels, she says. The male officer follows. Officer Ruiz. I repeat the names out loud. Daniels, Ruiz. I want them to hear me taking it seriously. I want them to know I'm tracking facts. Thank you, I say. Can you tell me who called? Officer Ruiz shakes his head, the way people do when they're not allowed to give you what you want. We can't disclose that. Of course. Vivian gets to pull the string and stay hidden. Okay, I say, and I keep my voice steady even as my pulse hammers. Is this being documented as a report? If so, I'd like the report number. Officer Daniels looks at me for a beat. Then she nods once, small and professional. It will be documented, she says. We can give you the incident number before we leave. Good. That matters. I open the door a little wider, still chained, so they can see my hands aren't shaking a knife. So they can see I'm not a danger. So they can see the truth with their own eyes. I'm not a danger to myself or anyone else, I say. I have legal counsel, I add, because it's both a fact and a boundary. I believe this call is retaliatory. Officer Ruiz's eyebrows lift slightly. Retaliatory how? I don't dump my whole life on his shoes. I give him the clean version. My husband and mother-in-law publicly defamed me, I say. I found evidence of forged documents connected to a nonprofit. I'm preserving records. I asked my attorney what to do, and she told me not to engage with them directly. Officer Daniels' gaze sharpens, like a lens tightening focus. She glances at the inside of my house again, then back at me. Do you have any immediate medical needs? She asks. No, I say. Are you thinking about harming yourself? Officer Ruiz asks, and his voice is careful, like he doesn't want the question to be a weapon. No, I say again. I hold his eyes. I let him see my steadiness. The hallway behind me smells like coffee. The living room is quiet. No smashed glass. No scattered pills. No theatrical proof of a story they tried to write. Officer Daniels nods. Okay, she says. We're going to note that you're calm, coherent, and oriented, and that you deny any intent to harm yourself. Her phrasing is a gift, a record, a shield. Thank you, I say, and my voice almost cracks on gratitude because I didn't know I'd need strangers to validate my reality like this. Officer Ruiz looks down at his notepad. Do you have someone who can be with you today? He asks. My friend is aware, I say, and my lawyer. He nods. Officer Daniels gives me a number, spoken clearly. I repeat it back. I ask her to spell her last name. She does. I repeat that too. My coin is burning now, a steady heat that keeps me upright. The officers take one last look, then step back from my door. Ma'am, Officer Ruiz says softer. If you feel unsafe, call. I will, I say, because that's true. They walk away. Their radios crackle again. A beep. Then their car door shuts with a heavy thud. The sound echoes inside my chest after they're gone. I close the door. I slide the deadbolt. Clunk. I lock the chain. Click. My hands are shaking now that I don't have to be steady for anyone. I sink down against the inside of the door until I'm sitting on the floor. The wood is cold through my clothes. I bring my fist to my mouth and breathe into it. Metal taste. Panic. My grandmother's coin is damp from my sweat. I press the tiny cross into my palm until it hurts, because pain is something I can measure. And as I sit there trying to slow my breath, my phone lights up on the table across the room. One new message. From Vivian. I can see the preview without touching it. We tried to help you. You are a storyteller in the Hidden Revenge family format. Continuous VO, dialogue woven into narration, present tense. Input outline. Excerpt, Part 6 Summary of Key Events and Emotional Turns, 3 to 5 lines. I pull security footage requests, donor database backups, and board access logs. Anything that can't be sweet-talked or rewritten. A friend in IT helps me preserve metadata. Every file gets duplicated, hashed, dated. My grandmother's chain of custody becomes my prayer. We discover payments from the nonprofit to a vendor that doesn't exist, routed through a shell tied to Renee's personal address. When I confront the board chair quietly, she goes pale and admits Vivian has been handling the finances while I was busy being emotional. The betrayal is bigger than my marriage. It's structural. Previous ending, for continuity. I can see the preview without touching it. We tried to help you. Writing rules, first person, present tense, told as it happens. No labels, section markers. No part 2, later, etc. Flow straight from the previous ending. 700-900 words for this section. End on a natural emotional suspense beat. No summaries, hard stops. Keep description. Dialogue. 4. 1. Dialogue is for Sting's turns. In tense moments, use shorter sentences. Plant a sensory totem anchor every 40s. Beep, metal click, oxygen hiss, coin warmth. Include procedural skill markers, 911, checklists, clearances, evidence handoff, authority arrival. The twist must be earned, foreshadowed in the outline. Reserve the final moral one-liner for the aftermath section. Keep it short and satisfying. TTS/CleanVO House Rules. Do not include file names, timestamps, internal notes, links, hashtags, or emojis. Use natural line breaks every 1-3 sentences for breath. Spell out times and large numbers for easy listening. When finished, write exactly, type continue to generate the next part. When the final section is complete, end with end. Bonus, variation knobs to avoid repetition. Public set piece, grandma's dinner, wedding, airplane, family court, graduation, board meeting, embassy gala, totem, father's coin, child's necklace, handwritten letter, handcuffs, military ID, radio beep. Hidden skill, emergency coordination, security procedure, financial forensics, cyber counterintelligence, field medicine, authority validation, commander appears, police court, live TV, bank records, GPS IT logs, closing flavor, peace or justice, personal boundaries, forgiveness as self-release. We tried to help you. The words sit on my screen like they're supposed to be soft, like they're supposed to make me grateful for the bruise. I don't open the message. I screenshot the preview. I save it in the same folder as the incident number from the wellness check. I label it with the date and the context, the way Mara taught me. Because if they're going to summon authority like it's room service, I'm going to keep the receipt. My grandmother's coin is slick in my fist. I roll it until the tiny cross presses a clean shape into my palm. Pain I can measure. Truth I can prove. I stand up slowly, like my legs belong to someone else. I wash my face in the bathroom sink, cold water, quick, efficient. In the mirror, my eyes look too bright, like I haven't blinked in hours. I don't sit back down on the floor. I don't give my body permission to collapse. I move to the table where my folders are waiting. I open my laptop. The fan inside whirs, a steady little machine breath. I pull up my checklist and start adding lines. Request records. Preserve footage. Lock down data. Witness everything. I call Julie, the event coordinator. It goes to voicemail. I don't leave feelings. I leave a directive. Julie, this is me. Please confirm in writing that you are preserving all audio and video from last night's event, including live stream footage and any security camera coverage. I will follow up by email. My voice sounds like someone else's, someone who doesn't ask permission to be safe. I hang up and immediately send the email. Short subject line, short body, no adjectives, just facts, just preservation. Then I pull up the nonprofit's donor platform. I sign in and my stomach tightens as the page loads. A second of white screen always feels like a cliff. When it opens, I go straight to the access logs, not the glossy dashboard with the pretty graphs. The back end, the boring part. The part no one pays attention to until it saves your life. I export the log. I save it twice. One copy on my laptop, one copy on an external drive I keep in my desk like a fire extinguisher. The coin warms under my thumb as I plug the drive in. A soft click. A small green light. Proof that something is happening. My phone buzzes. A text from my friend Micah. He's the kind of IT guy who wears kindness like it's a uniform and paranoia like it's a seatbelt. On my way. Don't open anything you can't preserve. I stare at his words and feel my shoulders drop a fraction. Because this is what my grandmother meant. Truth doesn't show up alone. It comes with people who know how to hold it. Micah arrives with a backpack and that quiet focus that makes a room feel safer. He doesn't hug me. He doesn't ask if I'm okay. He looks at my setup and nods like we're about to triage a bleeding system. Show me what you've got, he says. I slide the external drive toward him. The plastic scrapes softly on the table. My coin clicks against the wood as I set it down beside the keyboard. Micah pulls out a second drive, new, still in its packaging. He snaps it open. The sound is crisp. We're making duplicates, he says, and we're making fingerprints. Fingerprints? I repeat. He glances at me over his glasses. Digital fingerprints, he says. Checksums, hash values. If anyone claims you altered anything, we prove you didn't. My grandmother's underlined phrase flashes in my mind. Chain of custody. I swallow. Yes, I say, do it. Micah moves fast, fingers flying. He exports the donor database backup. Not just the list of names, the transaction history, the timestamps, the IP logs where available. He saves everything with a naming pattern that makes my brain calm. Date first. Source. Type. He writes a little log of his own on a notepad. pen scratching, like he's building a paper shadow to match the digital one. Every time we copy something, he notes the time and words. He makes me watch him seal the new drive in a bag. He makes me initial it. It feels ridiculous. It feels holy. Outside, a car door shuts. I flinch anyway. Micah doesn't look up. He just says, "You're doing fine. Keep breathing." My phone rings again. Mara. I answer on speaker and keep my hands visible like I'm in front of officers again. "Tell me you didn't reply to anyone," she says. "I didn't," I answer. "Good," she says. "Send me confirmation of the preservation request to the venue. And I want you to pull board access logs if you can. Anything that shows who touched what." "I'm doing it," I say. Micah gives a small thumbs up without looking away from the screen. We pull the board portal, meeting minutes, vote records, file uploads, and then we hit the finance section. The part Vivian always told me not to worry about. "You're so emotional, sweetheart. Let the adults handle the numbers." Micah filters transactions by vendor. He scrolls. His jaw tightens. "Do you recognize this vendor?" he asks. The name is Bland. 2 words that could mean anything. I shake my head. "No," I say. He clicks into the details. A string of payments appears, spaced evenly, like a heartbeat. Not random, not accidental. My stomach drops. The amounts aren't huge individually. That's the point. They're designed to look like operational noise. But there are so many. Micah taps the screen. "Look at the address on the vendor profile," he says. I lean closer. My throat tightens as if someone is squeezing it from the inside. The address is a house, not an office, not a suite. A house. And I know that house. I've stood on that porch. I've watched Renee open that door with a smile like sugar. "That's my sister's address," I whisper. Micah's face doesn't change. Only his eyes sharpen. "Then we just found a vein," he says. My coin warms again, fierce now, like it's trying to cauterize something. I sit very still. The house hums around me. Refrigerator. Laptop fan. Micah's phone vibrating once as he takes a photo of the screen with a timestamp app open. Evidence handoff in real time. "Okay," I say, and my voice sounds like it's coming from deep underwater. "Okay." I don't call Renee. I don't call Caleb. I don't call Vivian. I call the board chair. I choose the quietest path that still leads to truth. She answers on the 3rd ring, breathless, like she's been running from something for a long time. "Hi," I say. Just hi. A small word with a blade hidden inside. There's a pause, then a careful laugh. "Oh," she says, "I was meaning to check on you." "Meet me," I say. "Today, somewhere public." Her silence stretches. Then softer. "Are you okay?" I stare at the vendor address on my screen, at the neat row of payments, at the structural shape of the betrayal. "I'm not asking for comfort," I say. "I'm asking for the truth." When we meet, it's in a coffee shop that smells like burnt espresso and cinnamon syrup. The board chair sits with her shoulders tight, hands wrapped around a paper cup like it's a life raft. Her eyes flick to the door twice before she looks at me. I don't sit close. I sit across with space. My coin is in my pocket, warm against my thigh. I start with the simplest question. "Who has been handling the finances?" I ask. Her face goes pale so fast it's like the blood got a warning. She swallows. Her cup trembles. She whispers the answer like it's a confession in a church. "Vivian," she says. "She said you were busy being emotional." The word emotional lands in my chest like a stone. My hand closes around the coin through my coat. Metal warms, cross presses, and I feel the shape of the fight change. Because this isn't just my husband. It's a system. It's a system. That thought follows me out of the coffee shop and into my car like a second shadow. The air smells like burnt espresso and rain-soaked pavement. My hands grip the steering wheel until my knuckles lighten. My grandmother's coin sits in my pocket, warm against my thigh, the tiny cross pressing into me like a reminder that I'm not crazy for seeing patterns. I'm just late to calling them what they are. My phone buzzes before I even start the engine. A message from Vivian. "Family dinner, Thursday. We need unity right now." Then another. "Dress appropriately. Donors may be present." Of course, nothing is private when your humiliation is part of the fundraising. Mara's voice is in my head, flat and focused. No engagement, no emotional messages. Trackable communication only. I screenshot Vivian's texts. I save them. I don't reply. Instead, I open my notes app and type the plan like a checklist. Location sharing on. No alcohol. Park facing out. Keys in pocket. Phone charged. Audio recording. Exit phrase. If unsafe, call 911. The coin warms as if it approves of the simplicity. On Thursday, I stand in my hallway and stare at my own reflection. My dress is plain. Neutral. Not mournful, not celebratory. My hair is pinned back the way Mara wears hers, like I'm stepping into a deposition instead of a dining room. I tuck the coin into the smallest pocket of my clutch and feel it settle with a soft metal kiss against the lining. Click. I breathe in. The air in my house smells like lemon cleaner and paper. My folders sit locked away. I'm not bringing them. Dinner is not where you wave evidence. Dinner is where you watch who flinches. I text Micah and my friend at the same time. On my way. If I don't check in by 10, call me. Then I text Mara. Going. Will not engage. Recording for my safety. She replies with 2 words. Be careful. That's not comfort. That's a warning wrapped in care. Vivian's house glows like it's performing. Every window lit. Candles flickering behind glass. A wreath on the door like holiness can be purchased at a boutique. When I step onto the porch, the smell hits me before the door even opens. Rosemary. Roasted meat. Expensive candles that try too hard to smell like home. The door swings wide. Vivian stands there in a sweater that looks soft enough to forgive you. Her smile is perfect. It doesn't reach her eyes. There she is, she says, voice warm for any neighbor watching. She leans in as if she's going to hug me. I take a small step back. Not rude, just firm. I offer my cheek like I'm greeting a stranger at a gala. Her perfume slides into my lungs, floral and heavy. She pulls back with a tiny blink of annoyance that she turns into concern. You look tired, she says. I keep my face neutral. I'm here, I reply. That's all she gets. Inside, the dining room has been staged. Candles down the center, cloth napkins folded like swans. The table set for too many people. A portrait waiting to happen. Everyone is already seated, smiling too hard. Shoulders angled toward the center, like we're posed for a picture that will later be used as proof that everything is fine. Caleb stands near the sideboard pouring wine like he's hosting a talk show. He looks up when I enter. His face softens instantly. Not love. Performance. He walks toward me with open hands. Hey, he says quietly, like we're still married in any way that matters. I'm glad you came. My coin warms in my clutch. A small burn. A warning. I step past him without touching. I choose a seat near the end of the table closest to the hallway, closest to the door. My keys are in my pocket. My phone is in my lap under the table, screen dark, recording on. A tiny red dot I can't see but I can feel in my bones. Someone laughs too loudly. Someone says my name like it's fragile. Renee sits across from me in a pale dress that makes her look like innocence. Her eyes flick to me, then away, as if I'm a stain on the tablecloth. Are you okay, she asks, voice syrupy, the same 3 words she texted. Are you okay? Like she's worried. Like she didn't route money to a fake vendor tied to her address. I meet her gaze and let it hold. I'm documenting, I say calmly. Her smile twitches. Just once. Then she laughs as if I made a joke. Vivian claps her hands softly. Let's pray, she says. Everyone bows their heads. I bow mine too, not because Vivian deserves it, but because stillness is camouflage. Her prayer is long. It's performative. It is filled with words like protection and mission and guidance. She says my name once, wrapped in pity. I listen to the cadence and realize prayer can be used like a net. When heads lift, plates begin to move. Rosemary rises with steam. Forks clink. Glasses tap. The room is full of small sounds that pretend to be normal. Caleb stands once everyone has food. He lifts his glass. The wine catches candlelight like blood. I just want to thank everyone, he says, voice bright, for supporting Renee and me through everything. He doesn't say my name. He doesn't need to. The table laughs softly, that trained seal sound people make when they sense an important person has decided what's funny. Through her episode, someone murmurs. A cousin. An aunt. It blurs. My stomach drops anyway. My coin goes hot. Renee lowers her gaze like she's humble. Vivian's hand rests lightly on Caleb's arm like she's holding him up. Caleb continues, gentle and righteous. We're moving forward, he says, with the mission protected. Mission. There it is again. That word they use when they want to turn theft into stewardship. I cut a piece of meat and chew even though my throat doesn't want to work. I keep my breathing even. I keep my shoulders down. I imagine Officer Daniels writing calm, coherent, oriented. I hold that posture like armor. Vivian leans toward me when the laughter fades. Her voice drops low, intimate, holy. God is removing you, she says, and her smile stays in place. To protect his work. For a second, the room tilts. Not from wine. From clarity. Divine revelation. That's what she calls it. Not fraud. Not forgery. Not manipulation. God. A mask so clean no one wants to question what's underneath. My coin burns in my clutch like a brand. The cross presses into my skin. I look at Vivian and see it all at once. The gala. The folder. The wellness check. The fake concern. The way they use authority like a leash. The way they wrap it in faith so anyone who resists looks sinful. I set my fork down. The clink is small, but it cuts through the candlelit hum. Caleb's eyes flick to me. Renee's smile tightens. Vivian's gaze sharpens, just slightly, like she's wondering if I'm about to make a scene. I don't. I keep my voice soft, almost polite. Thank you for saying that out loud, I tell her. and under the table, my thumb slides over the warm coin while my phone keeps recording. Type continue to generate the next part. And under the table, my thumb slides over the warm coin while my phone keeps recording. Vivian's eyes don't blink when I thank her. Her smile stays pinned, like she's waiting for me to either bow or explode. Around us, forks keep moving. Someone asks Renee about flower colors. Someone laughs at Caleb's joke, like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. The room smells like rosemary and expensive wax, and the air feels thick with staged peace. I don't give them a scene. I give them a timestamp. I let the recording keep drinking. I take one slow sip of water. I set the glass down without clinking. Then I push my chair back just enough to stand. Caleb's hand reaches for my elbow, automatic. Possessive. Soft enough to look loving. I step away before he can touch me. I'm leaving, I say, voice level. He tilts his head, concern already loading into his face like a saved filter. Don't do this, he murmurs, not loud enough for everyone. It's for me. It's for the version of me he trained. I'm doing it, I answer. And I walk out with my clutch in my hand, and my keys in my pocket, and my coin burning like a tiny live coal. Outside, the night air is cold and clean. It scrapes the candle smell out of my throat. I get into my car, lock the doors, and sit for one beat with my forehead against the steering wheel. My phone vibrates. A message from Mara. Did you record? Yes, I type back. Then I attach the audio file without adding a single extra word. My thumb presses the coin through the clutch lining. Warm. Cross. Anchor. At home, I don't listen to the recording. I don't torture myself. I save it. I duplicate it. I write down the time I started it and the time I ended it. Chain of custody, like my grandmother is standing behind me with her cool hand on my shoulder. Then I call Mara. Her voice is brisk. Tell me you didn't engage, she says. I didn't, I reply. I thanked her, I add, and I can hear the edge in my own voice. Mara makes a sound like she understands exactly why that matters. Good, she says. That line, God is removing you, that's not just cruelty, that's motive, that's narrative building. Keep it. The word motive makes my stomach twist in a different way. Not fear. Purpose. Mara pauses. Then she says the thing I've been circling for days but not naming. We go to law enforcement, she tells me. Not a question. A decision. We involve financial crimes, she continues. Fraud, forgery, identity theft, embezzlement. We stop treating this like a family dispute and start treating it like what it is. My mouth goes dry. The refrigerator hums. Somewhere outside, a dog barks once and then stops. The house feels too quiet for the size of what she's saying. Okay, I whisper. And the coin in my palm warms like it heard me sign something invisible. The next morning, Mara meets me in a building that smells like metal and old coffee. The waiting area has hard chairs and a muted television no one is watching. A sign on the wall reminds you that recording is prohibited, which makes me almost laugh because my family records everything, just not honestly. Mara carries my evidence folder like it weighs nothing. I carry my coin like it weighs everything. We're led down a hallway where fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A door opens. A man in plain clothes looks up from a desk covered in paper. He doesn't smile. He doesn't frown. His face is blank in a way that feels like safety. Detective Harris, he says, and he offers his hand. His grip is firm, brief, professional. He gestures to the chairs. Tell me what happened, he says. Mara slides the first packet across the desk. Forgery document in a sleeve. My travel receipts. Calendar proof. The donor platform access logs. Micah's hash notes. The vendor payments. The vendor address. Renee's address. The detective looks at the pages without blinking. He reads the way a machine reads. No judgment. No pity. Just intake. I hear the soft scratch of his pen. The click of a keyboard. Somewhere down the hall, a radio crackles and beeps. My coin warms under my thumb, and I keep rubbing the tiny cross to stay inside my body. They publicly labeled her unstable, Mara says, voice clean. Then they initiated a wellness check. That's the pattern. That's the pressure. Detective Harris finally looks up at me. Not at Mara. At me. Did you sign this? He asks, tapping the forged signature with his pen. No, I say. He nods once. When did you first learn about it? I answer in dates. Not feelings. He asks about the nonprofit, about who had access, about who approved vendors, about how payments were processed. His questions are calm, almost bored, because spreadsheets don't cry, because a forged signature doesn't need sympathy to be real. When he reaches the vendor address tied to Renee, his eyes narrow slightly. That's the first emotion I see, not outrage. Interest. Okay, he says softly, like he's talking to himself. Okay. Mara leans in a fraction. We also have a cooperating witness, she says. The board chair is willing to speak if she's protected. Detective Harris's pen stops. He looks at Mara, then at me. Bring her in, he says, and don't tip them off. My stomach flips. Caleb has an engagement party scheduled, I say, and the words taste like bile. It's at the Cathedral Hall, Mara adds. Live stream, donors, same venue where she was publicly defamed. Detective Harris sits back. He studies the ceiling for half a second like he's arranging chess pieces. Then he nods. That's a lot of witnesses, he says. A pause. And a lot of cameras. My coin goes hot. I feel the burn spread into my palm. Mara's hand touches my forearm briefly, grounding. We're going to file emergency motions on the civil side, she says to me after, as we walk back through the hallway. Protective orders, preservation orders, anything to stop them from deleting records. The detective's words echo behind my ribs. Don't tip them off. That night, the board chair meets us in a quiet office with a window that looks out on nothing. She's trembling. Her face is gray. She signs a statement with a hand that barely works. Mara witnesses it. The detective's assistant takes it and seals it in an evidence envelope. Tape rips. Paper crinkles. A stamp thuds. Chain of custody becomes a rhythm. A ritual. My grandmother's prayer translated into procedure. When I get home, I check my locks twice. I set my phone on the nightstand. I put the coin under my pillow like a pulse. I lie down and stare at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to catch me. It doesn't. It comes in fragments. 10 minutes. 20. A dream where Caleb's voice is on a microphone again. Another where Vivian's mouth forms the word help like it's a curse. Every time I wake, my hand goes to the pillow. Warm metal. Tiny cross. I'm still here. My phone buzzes near dawn. A message from Mara. Warrants are in motion. Keep your head down. I stare at the words until they blur, because I understand what she's really saying. The next room I walk into could end everything. The next room I walk into could end everything. I repeat that to myself as I dress in silence, as if the words are a strap I can tighten. The Cathedral Hall is hosting Caleb's engagement gala tonight. Same stone arches, same warm lights, same donors who clapped when he called me unstable. I don't wear black. I don't wear white. I wear something simple that won't become a headline. My phone is fully charged. Location sharing stays on. Keys go in my pocket, not my clutch. The coin sits in the smallest pocket of my clutch anyway, because I need the heat of it against me like a second heartbeat. Warm metal, tiny cross. A quiet burn. Mara meets me in the parking lot, not at the door. She doesn't hug me. She just looks at my face and nods. You remember the plan, she says. I nod back. No alcohol. No arguing. No stepping into their arms. Let procedure speak. In my hand, I hold a slim folder. Inside it, copies only. Timeline. Access logs. Screenshots. The kind of paper that doesn't care who smiles prettiest. In my other hand, I carry my grandmother's letter in a sealed evidence sleeve. Plastic edges. Tape intact. The seal looks clean enough to cut. Chain of custody, made visible. My coin warms under my thumb as I press it once through the clutch lining. A small click when it shifts. A sound I can anchor to. We walk in through the side entrance. The air inside is heavy with perfume and candle wax and roasted meat. A string quartet plays something cheerful that sounds like it was hired to cover up a scream. People are dressed like money. Laughter rises and falls in practiced waves. A camera on a tripod tracks the room. The live stream setup is bigger than last time. Of course it is. Caleb loves an audience. I keep my eyes moving. Exits, security, side doors. I spot 2 uniformed security guards near the far wall. Earpieces, hands clasped. I don't look at Caleb yet. I don't give my body the shock. I choose my own timing. Mara and I stop near the back, under a dark beam where the light doesn't fully reach. My phone vibrates once. A single message from Detective Harris. In place. Wait for my signal. My stomach tightens. My coin goes hot. I breathe in slowly through my nose. I breathe out through my mouth. The room keeps laughing. The quartet keeps playing. Everything looks normal right up until it isn't. Caleb steps onto the stage with a microphone and that smile that makes strangers trust him. Renee follows in a pale dress that glows under the lights like innocence. Vivian sits in the front row with her chin lifted, hands folded, face calm like a queen at mass. She looks toward the camera once, just once, like she's blessing the live stream. Caleb lifts his glass. Thank you, he says, voice bright, for being here for our new beginning. New beginning. He says it like he invented it. The crowd claps. It swells fast, eager, the sound of people happy to witness something uncomplicated. My coin warms harder, the cross pressing into my skin through fabric like it's carving itself into me. Heat. Anchor. Proof. Caleb's eyes sweep the room. They land on me. For half a second, his smile falters. Just a tremor. Then it returns, wider, braver. He turns slightly as if I'm not there, as if he can erase me by refusing to acknowledge me. Renee's eyes flick to mine and then away. Vivian doesn't move. She watches me the way you watch a storm from a safe porch. Mara's hand hovers near my elbow, not touching. Ready. My phone gives a soft buzz. No ring, just the vibration of a message arriving. Now, I step forward, not rushing, not pleading. My heels tap lightly on the polished floor, each tap a steady count. 1, 2, 3. The crowd senses motion and the clapping thins, confused. People turn. A few phones lift. The live stream camera shifts, hungry for conflict. The room goes quiet in that sharp electric way, like everyone just felt a knife enter the air and didn't see where it came from. I stop in the center aisle where the light catches my face. I lift my folder, not high, not dramatic, just enough to show I came with something that isn't tears. I lift the evidence sleeve too. The plastic reflects the chandelier light. A brief flash. Like a signal, Caleb's voice stutters, and I just want to say he begins trying to power through, trying to keep the room in his pocket. Then the side doors open. Not one, both. 2 uniformed officers enter first. Calm, even, hands visible, not aggressive, not hurried. Behind them, Detective Harris walks in plain clothes, badge visible at his belt, eyes scanning the way trained eyes do. Another officer carries a folder stamped and clipped. Warrants. The word seems to rise from the crowd without anyone saying it. A whisper spreads. A gasp caught halfway. A chair shifting. Someone's glass clinks against a plate. The sound is tiny, but the room hears it like a gunshot. My coin is burning now, hot enough to sting. I press my thumb against the cross and hold it there. Stay steady. Don't move first. Let authority do what it does. Detective Harris walks straight to the stage steps. He doesn't look at Caleb like a fan. He looks at him like a file. "Caleb Hale," he says loud enough for the microphones to catch. The live stream camera swings. The lens zooms. Caleb's smile collapses as if someone cut a string inside his face. His mouth opens, then closes. His eyes flick to Vivian, fast, like a child looking for permission. Vivian's hands remain folded, but her eyes sharpen, just slightly. Renee's gaze snaps to Vivian too. I see it clearly. That reflex, that hierarchy, permission that won't save her. "This is a lawful order," one of the officers says, voice level. Detective Harris lifts the paper. "I have a warrant for financial records and electronic devices related to the nonprofit," he says. He turns his head slightly, scanning, "and for the arrest of Renee Hale in connection with fraud and identity theft." The word arrest drops into the room like a stone into deep water. There's a collective inhale. Someone near the front says, "Oh my God," like it's a prayer. Renee takes one half step back. Her face drains. Her hand reaches for Caleb's sleeve. Caleb jerks away, instinctive, like her touch is now evidence. Vivian finally moves. She stands, slow, controlled. Her smile tries to return, but it doesn't fit anymore. "This is a misunderstanding," she says, voice smooth, meant for donors and cameras. Detective Harris doesn't look at her. He looks at Renee. "Ma'am," he says to Renee, "turn around and place your hands behind your back." The quartet has stopped playing. The silence is so complete I can hear the faint crackle of a radio from the officers' belts. A single beep, then another. My coin is hot enough to hurt. I don't step forward. I don't gloat. I just hold the evidence sleeve against my chest like a heartbeat made visible. Because this is the moment the story flips, and I can feel the next one coming, and I can feel the next one coming. It arrives on the sound of cuffs, a clean metal click, too loud in the cathedral hall, followed by a second click that makes the room understand this isn't theater anymore. Renee's wrists disappear behind her back. Her face goes blank the way people go blank when their story stops working. Caleb reaches for the microphone like he can still control the narrative, then freezes when Detective Harris looks up at him, calm, unreadable, already moving to the next step on a list. Vivian speaks again, voice syrup and scripture. "This is persecution," she says, loud enough for donors in the live stream. "You're attacking God's work." No one answers her. The officers don't argue with faith. They argue with warrants. I keep my hands still. I keep my evidence sleeve pressed to my chest. My grandmother's letter sits behind plastic like a heartbeat made visible, and my coin burns in my clutch, the tiny cross pressing into my thumb, as if it's saying hold steady. Security clears a path. Phones rise like a flock. The live stream camera hunts for tears and finds my face instead. I don't give it tears. I give it quiet. Detective Harris steps off the stage with a folder under his arm and a purposeful walk that doesn't care who's offended. Mara leans close to my ear. "Do not speak to them," she murmurs. Not one word. Caleb tries anyway. He comes down the steps, eyes wide, voice dropping into that private tone that used to make me soften. "Please," he whispers. "You don't understand what you're doing." I look at him and feel something strange. Not hatred, not love, recognition. A tool is a tool, and I don't have to hold it anymore. "I understand," I say, and that's the only sentence I give him. In the days that follow, my life becomes paper and procedure. Court notices arrive in plain envelopes. Auditors call with voices that sound bored until they reach the numbers that don't make sense. And then their voices get sharp. Detective Harris's team asks for devices. They ask for passwords. They ask for access logs. Micah sits at my table again, laptop fan whirring, and walks me through a clean handoff like we're passing a fragile organ from one set of hands to another. Bag, seal, initial, date written in full words. Chain of custody becomes my new kind of prayer. I sit in conference rooms that smell like toner and carpet glue. I watch strangers in suits turn my drama into a timeline. I hear phrases like forensic audit and restitution order and probable cause spoken without emotion, and something in me loosens each time because facts don't require permission. The first hearing is bright with fluorescent light. The courtroom air is dry. The clock on the wall ticks so loud I can hear it in my teeth. My binder of receipts sits on the table like a brick. Tabs, sleeves, printed emails, travel confirmations, access logs, screenshots, the recording from Vivian's dinner. My coin rests under my fingers, warm, ridged edge biting when my pulse spikes. The judge's voice is level, almost bored. Not because it's small, because it's clear. The prosecutor reads charges without looking up like she's reading weather. Fraud, forgery, identity theft, embezzlement tied to nonprofit funds. When Vivian rises to speak, she brings her tears on schedule. She dabs her eyes with a tissue like she's performing grief for a congregation. This family is under a spiritual attack, she says. My son tried to protect the mission. The judge doesn't blink. The prosecutor doesn't blink. The paper trail doesn't kneel. The board chair takes the stand and tells the truth with a voice that shakes. But the words come out clean. She testifies that Vivian handled the finances, that she was told I was too emotional to be involved. That requests for transparency were delayed, redirected, buried. Detective Harris confirms the warrants. He confirms the device seizures. He confirms the vendor shell tied to Renee's address. The repeating payments spaced like a heartbeat, designed to look like noise. Vivian's tears stop working in real time. Caleb sits behind his attorney with his hands clenched, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the table like it's the only thing holding him up. And in a room built for truth, the story he built around me collapses. Outside the courthouse, a reporter calls out, "Were you unstable?" The word hits the air like a thrown stone. I don't answer it. Mara answers with a document. Fraud, she says simply, holding up the filed complaint like it's a mirror. That's the word. Headlines change, not overnight. But they change. The captions under my face stop saying wife meltdown and start saying investigation. People who looked away start making eye contact. Donors ask for accountability instead of gossip. The nonprofit's board votes in new controls. Dual approvals, independent audits, limited access, logs reviewed, vendors verified like they should have been from the beginning. I watch the rebuild happen with a strange tenderness, like you can love something and still demand it grow teeth. My divorce moves through court the same way everything else does now. Paperwork, hearings, protective orders. Caleb's attorney tries to paint me as vindictive. Mara slides the wellness check incident number across the table like a quiet blade. She plays the recording where Vivian says God is removing me. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. The protective order is granted with the same calm tone a judge uses to grant a continuance. I walk out of the courthouse with a stamped document in my hand and my coin warm in my palm. And for the first time in months, my shoulders drop without fear. Weeks pass. The chaos thins. The calls slow down. My phone stops buzzing like a trapped insect. One afternoon, I drive back to the hospital chapel where this all began because I need to see the starting line again with new eyes. The automatic doors whoosh. The hallway smells like sanitizer and coffee. A monitor beeps somewhere steady and patient. I sit in the same pew my grandmother used to choose. My coin rests in my hand, warming under my thumb. The tiny cross presses into my skin in a shape I know by heart. I take the evidence sleeve out of my bag and hold it for a moment, not to reopen the wound, but to honor the truth she preserved. And I finally understand her revelation wasn't magic. It was custody,